Bureaucracy in Pakistan is considered to be one of the most important pillars of the state. Civil services of Pakistan chooses best of the candidates, train them both physically and mentally, and make them the most competent officers. Still, bureaucracy is tagged along with corruption, nepotism, and power hunger. Why Pakistan could not develop its bureaucracy, why Pakistan is lagging behind the world, why Pakistan lacks good governance. To discuss all these issues, we have with us the most competent officer in bureaucracy, Mr. Hamza Shafqaat, Deputy Secretary, Establishment Division. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I feel honored that you've called me as a very competent officer. I am just an average officer. Thank you so much.
Sir, please tell our viewers about your professional background, about your achievements and about your trainings that you have been taking in various provinces.
I joined the civil services back in 2006. I was allocated district management group, which has later been renamed as Pakistan Administrative Service. And after that I was posted in Government of Sindh. I've served as Assistant Commissioner in a couple of districts in Government of Sindh. Then I was promoted and posted as Additional Deputy Commissioner in Islamabad, where I served for 2 years, and then I served in Capital Development Authority for 3 years, and presently I am working with the Establishment Division. And the Establishment Division actually does not have anything to do with the word establishment. That establishment is something else. This Establishment Division is basically the human resource department of the entire federal services. Educationally, I was trained as an engineer. I completed my engineering from GIK, Ghulam Ishaq Khan Institute, and I completed my Masters of Philosophy in Public Policy from National Defence University. And other than that, I've been trained by the Civil Services Academy. I'm currently also being trained by the National School of Public Policy. But despite that, I still say that the time I spent in Sindh, I had a wonderful time. The people of Sindh are the most hospitable people in Pakistan. I learned their language. They were initially not very welcoming of a Punjabi officer, but later when they realized that I'm working hard for their benefits, so they accepted me, and I enjoyed my time over there. I stayed in Rodi, I stayed in Mirpur Mathelo. It's a town in Ghodki, and there I was made in charge of all the small hospitals in the district. And the challenge was that almost more than 30 of the hospitals were occupied by the local landlords, and I still have those pictures where they had kept cattle in the hospitals, and it was very difficult for me, but eventually things started flowing because my intentions were right. We actually took out all the cattle and we put medical officers and female medical officers over there. So in that sense, I think it was a very good time for me. And now, actually, what's the reason why was I posted to Government of Sindh? Many officers and many people who are not in the civil services, they often ask me question that why is a Punjabi officer sent to Sindh or to Balochistan? So my answer is that, Pakistan is a federation, and it is important for the federation to strengthen the units, which are the provinces, and they have to keep in harmony. So the best of officers, they are sent into other provinces so that they can show to the other people of that province that people from Punjab are not that bad. Similarly, the people of Sindh, when they come and serve here in Punjab, the people of Punjab come to know that the people of Sindh are also very good, and they are hard working, and they are honest. So therefore it's very important to create an inter-provincial harmony.
So being a civil servant of Pakistan and having experience of almost 10 years now, what areas of improvement would you suggest that you think that civil services should bring these improvements in our system so that we could achieve good governance in our country?
I think what area? I think every area there is a margin of improvement in almost everything. You name it. It's either it's the law and order, it's health, it's education, it's social welfare. Every department needs a lot of improvement, and I feel that there is a huge decline in the delivery of public services over the past few decades, and there are various reasons for it. But personally speaking, even despite all the challenges, I think that civil servants do have the space to make improvements in the system, and for that I think there are only two things which are needed. One is creativity, and other is innovation. If an officer is creative and he's innovative and he has the will to do work, he can do a massive improvement in his areas. For example, as I was telling you that when I joined Ghotki as head of the primary healthcare system, it was an impossible task, and I could just have said कि यार मुझे काम ही नहीं करने देते, local landlords they're not willing to work, police is not cooperating with me. I could have just said that, but instead I used my innovation and I used my mind and applied my mind that what should I do to make people come with me and join me and improve the things. So what the idea in my mind was to make a community support group with at every hospital. So when I went into a village, I had a meeting with every one of the people who were the landlords and other people, important people, and I convinced them to take the ownership of the hospital. I asked them that they will monitor the attendance of the staff, and I asked them that whatever budget we will give to the hospital, they will look after it. So in that sense, they thought that probably they are the owners of this health facility, and therefore they helped me a lot in vacating that facility.
So as all of us know that only those people are selected for civil services who are the most brilliant, most intelligent and most competent among the others. So but when they become the civil servants, they do not deliver up to the mark. Just like you have said that most of the officers do not use their innovation and creativity to perform the tasks that they are doing. Why do you think that this change happens during the tenure of their services for Pakistan?
I completely agree with you that the perception about the civil services is that although Federal Public Service Commission, they select the best, they select the cream of the entire nation, but even then somehow, unfortunately, over a period of time, the same civil servants are unable to deliver. They are unable to provide the services which are expected out of them. But let me correct some facts over here. First of all, the entire civil services of Pakistan, they're almost, if we exclude the armed personnel, there are almost 1 million bureaucrats in the country, including low-level employees and senior level employees. But out of 1 million employees of the government, the CSS officers, which are the Central Superior Services officers, they are just almost less than 9,000. So in the entire grand structure of the civil service of Pakistan, out of only less than 9 or 8% are from the Central Superior Services, and rest are either from the provincial services, or they are either from the ranks, or they have just got inducted through some other manner. So in that sense, if the impression or the perception of the civil services, it is not just of the Central Superior Services officers, it is of the entire bureaucracy. So even we have to bear the brunt, and we have to take the blame of the officers who are not even civil servants, who are not even CSS officers. So first thing, we have to make it clear that all CSS officers, they are not corrupt. I think they are very competent, and government spends a lot of them. They are continually being trained. Even from 17 to 18, they have to go to the common training programs and special training programs, and then they have mid-career management programs. But the issue is with the non-CSS officers who are neither trained, whose induction is also very dubious. So in that sense, first thing we have to keep in mind that that impression is probably, it's a sweeping statement if we say that all CSS officers are corrupt. But having said that, I still agree, and I admit that over a period of time, the civil servants, they start lacking their initiative, they start becoming corrupt, although there is no research on it, but that is what perception is. So why is that? There are three reasons. I think there are three important reasons for that. First of all is that the salary of the civil servants, it is not equal. Although they work a lot, a lot of work is expected out of them, but their salary is not up to the mark. So the first reason which makes them lack initiative is lack of salary, and that is why they have to do some other ventures. They'll try to do some business, or they'll try to teach somewhere, and they try to look for other means to survive. So first thing is that I think government, we have to do something about the salary. Second thing is that after 1973, the constitutional protection which was given to civil servants, it has been withdrawn. Now the entire civil service is subordinate to the political leadership, and therefore it has been seen that continuous political pressure on the police, on the district administration, on the tax collection authorities, the political interference it is a huge cause of frustration in the civil service. So probably it's about time that if we want to make the civil services more responsible, I think the political interference has to be somewhat regularized in a manner. And the third thing which I think is that over a period of time, CSS officers, they start becoming stale because of the surrounding, because of their environment, in which environment they are working. Probably some of the times their offices are not very good. Some of the time they are howled on by the media. They are even answerable to FIA, they are even answerable to NAB, they have to answer the Public Accounts Committee, and they even have to answer the ministers, they have to answer the courts, the Supreme Court, the High Court. So in that sense, there are a lot of factors which inhibit the work of a civil servant, and eventually he decides over a period of time that, yeah, I can't do much and I should just go with the flow, because if I try to do something different, I'll be objected by people. So probably these are the three reasons which are on the top of my head.
So you have been a part of city administration as well. Please tell our viewers about the role of city administration during protests, dharnas and processions.
I have stayed as the additional deputy commissioner in Islamabad for 2 years, and it was during my time that the Minhajul Quran, Professor Dr. Tahirul Qadri Sahab came here with a huge number of people with him. Okay, so first of all, let us decide what is the role of district administration. The primary role of district administration in a city is to maintain law and order. And what do we mean by law and order? Law means that it is their responsibility to see that all laws are being implemented properly. Traffic laws, police laws, local laws, special laws, agriculture, all those local and special laws are being implemented. It's their responsibility. And the second prime responsibility of district administration in Islamabad is to maintain order. And by order, I mean that it's their responsibility to see that there is peace, there is no chaos in the city, and the regular business is going on as per the schedule. It is their prime responsibility. So in such an event, when there is a huge protest or a situation where there is a threat to law and order, and when there are a huge number of people, they come into Islamabad and they try to block the roads. So the first responsibility comes on the head of the deputy commissioner, and it is his responsibility to ensure that the life and property of the people is saved, and there is no hurdle in movement of the people, because there can be any emergency. People have to move to hospitals, they have to use ambulances and all that. So in that sense, the role of district administration is very important. So now coming to your question is that how do they manage it? Well, it's a very technical thing to do, and it does not start on the event. It starts much before the event. For example, as soon as we come to hear that a protest is about to come after 1 month, our work starts from there. We start meeting with the local traders, we start meeting with the unions, we start meeting with the ulemas, we start meeting with the representatives of the political parties, and we convince them, and we try to push them and pull them into coming into terms. So our work starts much before that, and we try our best that the protest does not take place. We try to solve their problems. For example, there was once a problem that population from Pindi, they entered onto the IGP road of Islamabad and they blocked all the road. Why? Because there was no gas there. So instead of just fighting them, or instead of just standing there, or instead of sending police to them, we approached the people and we asked, what is the problem? They said, sir, gas nahi aa rahi. So we said that instead of blocking the road, let's make a delegation and we'll take you to the gas authorities and we'll try to solve the problem. So the problem, 90% of the times, the problem gets solved. But 10% of the times, when there are some political games going on and there are higher vested interests of the people, in that sense, then the district administration cannot control them, and then probably the government has to intervene, and then they try to come on terms at some level. So that is their role.
All of us know that civil servants enjoy high authority and great powers, but obviously it comes with some threats. Have you ever received any live threats for your assignments that you have taken over?
I have faced 3 times. I have faced death threats. First was when I was posted in during my first posted in Ratodero. There I took action against a local dacoit. He had occupied a government building and he had put buffaloes in it. And I went there, and in my innocence I just broke all the locks and I got all the people who were sitting there arrested. And there they asked me that कि हम ना तुम्हें छोड़ेंगे और ना तुम्हारे बीवी बच्चों को छोड़ेंगे. And I was not married at that time, so I said कि यार मेरे बीवी बच्चों को तो तुम जो मर्जी कर लो, मेरी खैर है. So that was the first threat. The last threat which I received was when I took action against the Land Mafia, who had occupied a huge tract of land in the name of Kachi Basti. That was in I-11. And there were people who belonged to terrorist organizations, and there were people who were from Fatah, and there were even people who were from Afghanistan. And they thought that although it was not my decision, it was an order given by the Honorable High Court, and it was the decision of the Ministry of Interior to remove that encroachment. But when I did that, they started threatening me, and they even somehow they came to know about the address of my house, and they started sending me letters. And apparently when you just talk about it, it's not very serious, but the thing is, when you see a letter which says कि हम तुम्हें नहीं छोड़ेंगे or we'll kill you, it's a traumatic experience, especially for the wife and my kids and for family, that कि यार ये तो this is something very serious. But alhamdulillah, I still believe, I have a strong faith that life and death is decided by Allah Almighty only, and as a civil servant it is my responsibility to take action with pure intentions in the interest of the public. So rest is with Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala takes protection of everyone.
Sir, in Pakistan, policy making is not adequately institutionalized. Do you agree with that?
I completely agree with you. Policy making in Pakistan, I agree, it's very haphazard. It is kind of an amorphous process. What I have seen through my experience is that there are three kinds of forums through which a policy is made. First forum is the bureaucratic forum, where the ministry itself presents through files, they present a policy which is eventually approved by the cabinet. Second type of policy making is donor driven. It is the donors, the multilateral organizations, the World Bank, the UN and the other organizations, they sponsor a policy. For example, the public procurement rules, they were implemented in Pakistan on the behest of World Bank. So that is the second type of policy making. And the third type of policy making is which is done on the behest of lobbies and pressure groups. For example, if we want to get a tax exemption, there will be a certain group who would pressurize and who would lobby the people at the helm of affairs to, evade that tax or make a tax exemption. So in that sense, you're right that it should have been the responsibility of the representatives of the public only, but somehow it is not like that. But to tell you the fact, it is not even happening in America even. In America, it is not the Congress which is making policy. Even there is a troika of business people, the Congress and the military bureaucracy. All three of them come to some terms and then a policy is evolved. So in that sense, as it is happening all over the world, but I still agree with your point, and I take it that yes, it's the responsibility of politicians and the bureaucracy. Although I belong to bureaucracy, but I still say that we create hurdles in that. And there are some very good politicians in Pakistan, and I think they should be given a chance to make policies, because they are the actual representatives. The bureaucracy, they are not the representatives of the people. We are selected and they are elected, and we must, as per our constitution, we must respect their legitimacy.
Sir, please share some memorable experience during your tenure at Pakistan Civil Services Academy.
Okay, right. Civil Services Academy, I had a wonderful time there. It's a memorable time because that is the time where you are converted from a student into an officer. So in that sense, it's a very interesting time. But what I had before going to the academy, I met a couple of my seniors from my engineering university, and I told them that I'm going for a training, and they told me कि यार वहाँ पे तो corruption करना सिखाते हैं ना, corruption 101 क्या ये सिखाते हैं? मैंने कहा नहीं सर ऐसा तो नहीं. And then they said कि अच्छा फिर तो तुम्हें साहब बनाना सिखाते होंगे. And what I had in mind was that when I'll go there, they'll treat me as an officer and they'll tell us that we are an elitist group, blah blah blah. But that was not the case. On the other hand, our civil services academy, it's a state-of-the-art institution in the sense that instead of making us a proud civil servant, they impart this lesson into our minds. Rather, they bombard this idea into our minds that we are servants and that we have to serve the public. So in that sense, it was very paradoxical for me that I have become an officer and they are telling me that you are a servant. But over a period of time, I realized that probably if the civil service wants to survive and if they want to do good to this country, it's about time that we admit and we agree and we adapt to this concept that we are the servants of the people. We have to serve them, and we have to serve them in a manner in which they become delighted and they become happy. So anyways, you're asking about my any memorable experience in Civil Services Academy. Well, we had a lot of experiences. Our most toughest thing which we had to do was to get up at 6 o'clock and go for physical training. And PT के लिए we had to get up and we had to dress up and we had to run around the grounds, and then we had to dodge our PT instructor to somehow, so that we can shirk our responsibility. So there were a lot of events there, I think, but it is something which can, instead of describing it, it's something which should only be experienced, because over there it's the first time when the people of all the provinces come there, and we learn new things. For example, in Sindhi language, apple is called a soof. So whenever we went out and I asked some of my Sindhi friends, okay, sir, do you want a soup? Because we went into a restaurant and they said, yaar, idhar seb khane ka kaun sa time hai? So but in that sense, it was very good for us that we learned something from our brothers from KPK. We learned something from our brothers from Balochistan, and it was very positive environment. It is a place where there is where we can see that what is the strength in the federation. We can see the commonalities. But on the other hand, obviously we also see that there is a huge difference between the upper class and the lower class. People who had come from rural backgrounds, they had different opinions about us, and the people who had come from urban backgrounds, they had different opinion about the people from rural background. So in that sense, it was very interesting.
Sir, you launched a full-scale operation against Land Mafia for illegal occupation of land and encroachments. How far that operation was successful?
Alhamdulillah, it was successful. I think my time with the Development Authority and the Land Department was very successful. Our first achievement was that we were able to get land worth 17 billion rupees vacated. And then on that land we have a very good project running on, that is called Park Enclave project. And what were the problems? The problems of Land Mafia. Land Mafia works in two ways. One is the active way and the other is the passive way. Active way is that they actually encroach our lands and then they fight with us through courts and through active resistance. But the most dangerous thing what they do is the passive resistance. They try to bribe officials of CDA, of the Development Authority, to see that no project of CDA is launched. Because when CDA launches a project, automatically it becomes number one because it has the best land in Pakistan, and the land of the other housing societies, which are the private housing society, it goes down. So the first thing which is very dangerous that they do is that they try to bribe, induce, entice, threat the officers of CDA not to launch a housing project. And they have been very successful in this, because for the past 20 years CDA has not been able to launch any single housing project. So in that sense, it was a huge success for us that we launched 3 huge projects. One was Park Enclave project. We took possession of it and now we are in the process of giving it to the owners of the plot. The second which we started was the Sector E12. Sector E12 was acquired back in 1987, but it was us, we took its possession in 2015, and we had handed it over to the engineering department to start the process. And after that we even launched 3 new sectors. Those were D13, E13, C14 and C15. So in that sense, I think it was a huge achievement on our part that we were able to launch projects despite the passive resistance of housing societies and Land Mafia. What are the challenges? Challenges are that they are very strong. They have strong links in media. They have strong. They try to threat us They badly defamed me just because of my operation. They tried to sell the story to people that he is the head of mafia and he is trying to create plots for himself, which was rubbish and altogether wrong, because a civil servant cannot just take over plots. There is a complete process on it. And they threatened my family. There was a huge campaign which went on in the media against me, and it was called Hamza Shafqaat, Land Mafia ka Sarbarah, Hamza Shafqaat. But I stood firm, and I was very fortunate that my seniors were very supportive. Our chairman CDA Maroof Afzal Sahab, our member administration Amir Ali Ahmed Sahab, both are officers of impeccable integrity. They're very hard-working officers, and they took all the pressures and they allowed me to work. So in that sense, I think we did good.
Sir, some countries like Korea, China, Indonesia and Malaysia have developed their countries through their bureaucracy, but that couldn't happen in the case of Pakistan. What were the hampering factors, do you believe?
You're very right, and I think you should also include Indonesia and Malaysia in it. I had a recent chance to visit Malaysia on a conference which was on public administration, and I was shocked to see the development and the progress that they have made in the last decade or so. And that is because of the factor that they have made their bureaucracies independent. Number one, they have set specific performance indicators for their bureaucracy. Number two, number three, they are giving them good incentives, and number four, they are making their bureaucracy accountable. In Korea or in Singapore, if you are unable to deliver, you are kicked out of the service. On the other hand, in Pakistan, a civil servant, it's impossible for the government to kick out a civil servant. For a civil servant to get out of job, it takes at least 6 to 7 years. There is an inquiry, then there is a de novo inquiry, then there is an appeal, then there is a federal services tribunal, and then there is a summary which goes up till Prime Minister, and then he can even go to the writ petition. So in that sense, I think bureaucracy of Pakistan, it does not have incentives to work, number one, and number two is it's not even accountable properly. And why is it not accountable? Because the process of kicking them out of the service is very long. So if we want to follow the model of Singapore, model of Lee Kuan Yew, or the model of Malaysia or Korea, what we have to do is strengthen our bureaucracy. We have to give more powers to the civil services, but then make them more accountable. If a deputy commissioner is not delivering, he should be kicked out of service. If a police officer, if an IG or an SHO, he is unable to control crimes, he should be kicked out of his office. He should not be just transferred on whimsical grounds. So, and he should be paid well. You know, if an inspector who has the power to investigate even the murder of the Prime Minister, then I think he should be given a handsome salary, because he is given immense responsibility, immense authority. So in that sense, if he's given good incentive and if he's made properly accountable, I think Pakistan will change.
Sir, any message for Micronox, the leading IT company in Pakistan, and also for FIRE?
My message for the team who is working in Micronox, the first thing, after talking to them and after learning about Micronox, what I learned was that they are doing a lot of work in information technology. Their clients, they are spread all over the world. They have massive clients in the US, and they have a lot of potential. They can bring a lot of job opportunities to Pakistan, a lot of investment opportunities in Pakistan. So in that sense, they are doing a great work. But the thing which actually inspired me a lot, which I think was very impressive, was their vision. Instead of their work, I was more impressed by their vision. And their vision, normally the private companies, they are more interested in profit maximization. But in their case, they are more interested in the betterment of people, in the economic progress of our country, and in the development of Pakistan. So I think in that sense, they are doing a wonderful job. Their CEO, Mr. Asad Rafi, Ms. Sehresh, they are very competent people. I know them. I've worked with them as well, and I think they are doing a wonderful job. I wish them the very best of luck, and I even I present myself to them that if ever I could be of any help to them in making any public-private partnership or doing some work with the government, I'm always available, because their work is of immense value to Pakistan. I think we wish you all the best. The first thing which I want to tell you, while I read this magazine, it is one of the very few magazines in Pakistan who are promoting positivity in Pakistan. I was very happy to see a group who are doing such a visionary work, such a positive work. When I was reading this magazine, it made me so happy, and I felt so proud of our young members of the Fire magazine, that they're doing such a wonderful job for the people of Pakistan. And I think and I advise them to do something, to do some venture with the government of Pakistan, or probably with ISPR, so that this work that they are doing, it should be projected properly to the rest of Pakistan. So, and I wish them the best of luck. The people who are working in Fire, I know Mr. Asad, I know Ms. Shahrish, they are doing a wonderful job. They are highly competent and amazing group of people. They are doing an amazing job, and I wish all of you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your time for Fire TV. It was an honor meeting you, and it was a useful and informative discussion, not only for Fire TV but for all of its viewers. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
So viewers, this was Mr. Hamza Shafqaat, Deputy Secretary, Establishment Division, Government of Pakistan. Thank you so much for viewing. This is Sehrish Kamal from Fire TV, Islamabad.